What is up? Welcome back. We are live for another training webinar. Man, do we have a treat for you tonight. Our topic tonight is mentorship program, the building blocks for success. We have some amazing guests who are going to be joining us. I'm going to be promoting one more to panelist in just a second as soon as I see her name. But Natasha Washington and Ryan Miller of the Miller Agency with Symmetry. What is up, guys? Good to see y'all.
What is up? How you doing,
Hey,
Cody?
man.
Doing amazing. Where are y'all joining us from?
Arizona for me.
And I'm in Florida.
I love it. I wish I was in Arizona and Florida. I'm in Missouri. It's like 12 degrees. I would love to know where you guys are joining us from as you're jumping in as an attendee for tonight's webinar. Again, phenomenal training topic. They're going to go over sales and marketing. I promise you, you not want to miss a second. But throw in chat and let me know where you are watching from. Where are you located? I would love to know a little bit more about that tonight. Houston, Texas, New York. Hi from Alabama, Sweet Home, Alabama. I love it. Very cool. Well, I'm in Springfield, Missouri, along with our team in a new, actually just moved into the new office literally last week. You can't really see it, but the studio's in there somewhere. Sales rooms out here. And we're hanging out and getting familiar with the new space. Oh, also, where we got Virginia, Northern California, Arkansas, Florida, Oklahoma. I love it. Let me see if Ashley is on, and I do not see her yet. So I can also have the email be resent really quick too. So
That'd be good.
Yep.
33% on.
That's right, man. That's right. They're bringing the whole team, man. You know, like, dude, Ryan, that's one of the things I respect about you and your agency and what y'all do is y'all like to showcase other people, and it's more like a family than like the Ryan show, you know, and I respect the heck out of that.
You know, I appreciate that. It's actually one of those things that, so now, of course, we'll get started here in a minute, but man, I tell you what, I got to stand on shoulders of like giants, right? I think most of us, and I always tell people success is borrowed. And it's time at some point, Cody, we got to give back, right? We got to give back. And I don't mean give back because we're expecting anything in return, but give back because this is just the right thing to do. And no one has got anywhere really significant by themselves. So I think it's important to kind of showcase just a little bit about what we're going to be showing, showing you guys here. And hopefully, in fact, I know there's going to be several people that we're going to impact here on this call. So I'm super excited. I'm excited to get our last person on when she pops on, but I'm ready to rock and roll when you are, man.
I love it, buddy. Well, I appreciate you doing this. I know you guys are super busy. You got a lot going on running a massive organization. So I appreciate your time coming to share with our audience tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to y'all to take it away.
All right. Thank you, Cody. Hey, guys, welcome. Listen, Ryan Miller here. I'm from Arizona. We just talked about that a little bit. I'm actually accompanied by, once you'll see, Ashley Richard and Natasha Washington. But so whoa, the screens has jumped around a little bit. No problem. Thank you, brother. So I want to go ahead and get the uncomfortable part out of the way. I know there's a lot of people going, okay, this guy, first of all, why is he wearing a Stitch shirt? I know everyone's saying I'm a big Disney guy. You know, Cody, first thing first, I get my 5-year-old gets to pick out my Disney shirt every single day. So I get to do this. So some people want to know numbers. So for the engineer-minded people out there, I'm going to give you a little bit of background of our agency, but more importantly, what we're going to give back to every single person that's on here. And you're first to see it. So I've been in the industry now for 8.5 years. Background was a corporate America guy for 19 years. But in the insurance space, what have I done? In the last 8.5 years, with just accompanied by amazing people, we have written $137 million in premium. $137 million in premium. So in life insurance, 98% of that on life. And if you're joining us for any other purpose, I tell you, a lot of the stuff we're going to be showing you and sharing with you is going to be universal. But in that 137 million, there's a lot of people that have to do with that. But most importantly, that's what's been the last 8.5 years. And here's what I've decided, and what we've decided, just a few people, and Ashley, she'll be popping on in a second. What we've decided to do is take what we have learned in the last 8.5 years, and what we're going to do is we're creating and have created a mentorship program. Who's this program for? And we'll talk about, because I know you're probably wondering cost. Here's the good news. You're going to love the cost, because the cost is going to be commitment. So let's get that out of the way first and foremost, okay? So 8.5 years, 137 million, and now it's time for us to get back to you. And when I say give back to you, we're going to give it back in a 6-week, week by week, a total of a 6-week course that's going to be starting in January. So not only are we going to end the year strong, but we're actually going to have a 6-week program, and we're going to discuss things like your activity. We're going to discuss things like resources and schedule and system. We're going to be talking things about the psychology of leading yourself, leading others, and leading other leaders, which, by the way, the psychology on that is completely different. So what we're planning on doing on this particular call is we're going to go through marketing first, because you know well as I do, without marketing, where are we? If we don't have anyone to talk to, where are we? Now, you're not talking to somebody that was amazing in this, Cody. When I say amazing this, I was absolutely bad to start. And by the way, Cody, you always talk about how 92% of people that come into the insurance industry, they fail in the first 3 years, meaning they quit. Well, my job today is I'm going to help you guys with a pathway to not only talk to the 8% out there, but my goal is to give everyone a belief and a track on how to actually achieve going from that 90% failure to that 8% of success. And if you're out there not only wondering if you can do it, by the end of the 6 weeks, not only can you do it, but I will tell you, we're going to train and actually show you how to multiply yourself, because I don't know about you. The most important thing to me is making an impact. The most important thing to me after losing my dad by an accident, my mom by cancer, I want to give it back. What I want to do, I've realized, is that darkness does not have to kill the light. It actually defines it. But what I want to do is be able to show you, just to give you little snippets of what you're going to see during this mentorship track. You're going to give the availability of actually signing up for it. So you'll have an email, an itinerary, and all that good stuff. But what you're going to see on this is just snippets from the marketing and the sales. And the first person we're going to start with. So I'm going to give you just a little background of my chief marketing officer. My chief marketing officer, Natasha Washington. So I've known Natasha for almost 2 decades. 2 decades. Now, what is her background? Well, not only has she been, and most of her 2 decades have been in the marketing field, guys. So not only has she started off as a marketer, but ran a marketing room, built it up, actually took over a marketing room, has actually built marketing rooms here in the US and overseas. All she does is help people not only set up to find success, to see people at the end of the day, to have somebody to actually impact, right? And then not only that, but she's actually helped to multiply. So if you're a business owner on here and you want to know how to set up a marketing room, if you want to know how to multiply yourself, Natasha has been so incrementally important to our agency overall. And here's the thing about me, guys. What you see is what you get. I wear my heart on my sleeve. We make an absolute mess. We have an absolutely blast doing it. So we're going to jump right in. And so I could tell you, Natasha, you have been so unbelievably important and essential to our agency. Last year alone, we did $20 million in premium. This year, we're on track to do $25 million in premium. And it's because I get to partner with all-stars like this. You are not, and I repeat, you are not doing this by yourself. And if you're out there and you feel like you're on an island, then the question is why? Because I can tell you, everyone that's on this call, you're either part or have access to some system or process. And Natasha, what's crazy, process and systems are awesome, but what actually makes all that stickable is people and relationships. So we're going to start with marketing. We're going to go into sales, and I'm going to introduce Ashley, which you're going to be absolutely just so happy with getting her nuggets. And then I'm going to wrap up with environmental, like how to set up your environment and leading leaders and what that looks like. And we're going to talk about the relationship side. But at the end of the day, if you guys want to get better, I want you to take at least one nugget for what we're going to talk about. So Natasha, I'm going to turn this marketing part over to you to start.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And thanks for joining us, guys. He nailed a lot of really good things on the head here. Every single person that has joined us, our team, And I'll go as far as saying the best of the best on each, right? But our team really does love impacting. We love, like, it motivates us, right? Everyone's got a thing that motivates them. And I love it because I think what makes this team, this trio, so powerful is that watching others succeed is what actually fuels us to do more, right? And so I think this is so cool. I'm so glad it was something we decided to do, because training is just something I've done for a very long time. So let's talk about marketing. So I get the fun side, right? The reason why we start with marketing is because it is the most important side. In fact, if you don't do this part well, you won't make it. And that's in whatever industry you're in. Okay. In fact, it's the one thing I've seen kick out the greats, and that's dialing, right? That's the marketing side. That's one of the marketing side, but the most important marketing side. And I mentioned it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you make appointments, then it matters to you. In fact, we perfected this process in a totally different industry. We called folks, we made appointments, we sold products, we did the same thing, but it wasn't insurance. It was something completely different. And that's why I'm saying, whether you're in insurance, whether it's Medicare, PNC, real estate, it doesn't matter. Any industry that follows the appointment show structure is where you can receive value in this. And the thing is, you can set appointments all day long, right? Setting appointments is like half the battle. But the biggest part is whether or not you get them to show, because if you don't, then you will have nothing to do. And that's why I think this is the foundation for everything. It's not just getting on the phone. It's not just setting the appointments. It's actually getting people to show. Okay. Now, I've been doing this for 17 years. And I used to say it doesn't look like it, but now I've hit an age where I can actually say it does. All right. So 17 years I've been doing this, and I can relate because I've done it all. I've been the marketer. I've done the call centers. I've built the businesses. I've ran the businesses. I've lost the businesses. I've done it all. Right. So there's a couple things that I know from the bottom to the top. One of the things I know is that most people that are doing this, they're dealing with answering machines. Like this is the struggle that I get when I talk with people, right? You're struggling with the answer machines, or you make appointments and you barely have any of them show. 9 appointments on the board, 2 of them shows. Sound familiar? Right? This is how we all start. In fact, sometimes we've been doing this for so long. This is how we're currently doing today, and we can't seem to get back on track. And that's because we don't have a process to follow. There's no one telling us that we're on step 5, but we really need to go back to step 2, because that's where we're struggling. We're type A personalities, man. We know how to move forward, but are we doing it effectively? And are you feeling fulfilled when you do it? Do you have your appointments rescheduling on you a lot? Are they canceling a lot? Those are frustrating. I just spoke with an agent just very recently who literally, she made all these appointments for Friday, 9 appointments, and she had 2 of them show, but 4 of them rescheduled. Now, while I think rescheduling is wonderful, I'm sure that when it comes to your pocketbook, Friday and preparing for those shows is what you were waiting on. So what did that do for your ego? Right? How frustrating is it for you to do all that research for your appointment only for them not to show up? Are you now chasing them to get on the schedule because you did all this research, right? These are real struggles everyone's going through. So my question to you is, what if you could be prepared? What if you knew exactly what to do and what to expect based on your own production? What I'm saying is, what if you can guarantee a certain number of your appointments to show every single week? What about 50 to 60% of them? Every single week, consistently. What would that mean for your business or your agency's business? What would that mean for your team if you're building a team and you're teaching people how to grow all that for themselves? To set 20 appointments a week and guarantee seeing at least 10 of them, what would that do for your income, and even better, your skill set? And how many more people can you help? This is what we're offering to you, a process that literally allows your numbers to work for you and not you work for your numbers. I want you to focus on the APV coming in. I want you to focus on the people that you're helping. I do not want you to focus on the hours of dialing, because the hours of dialing is not what's going to get people sitting down to you. Yes, it's the start, but that's not the money making making activity. That's what we offer to you. So what we've done is, how is it that we've found something that can guarantee this, regardless of what lead source, for any appointment that's set? What I mean is, I use this process, this show factor process, on anything, whether I'm calling prospects, whether I'm hiring, setting interviews, anything that requires me to schedule an appointment. I use this process because it works so well. How is it that we can do that? And that's because we took the psychology behind the words and transformed them into a building block for success. That's how we did it. So I'm going to give you some nuggets today, because I do think it's important. Did you know that people tell you whether or not they're going to show before the end of the phone call? More than 75% of people know whether or not they're going to show to your appointment by the time you say goodbye. It's not something that happened that morning that told them, oh no, I'm not going to make it today, there's a really good movie on TV. It's not something that popped up. They're literally telling you on the phone whether or not they're going to show. And how powerful would it be for you to be able to knock them and say, wait a second, I don't know if that is registered for me because my schedule is more important. This is what we want to teach. So let's talk about some tips I can give you today that will increase your show factor. Easy. And these are the biggest tips that I give everyone. But keep in mind, they're just the beginning of the tips. There is more to this. There's more to the whole breakdown of the script. I love the psychology because there is something from the beginning of the times of speaking to them all the way down to when you're sitting with them and providing a policy and helping them with whatever sale it is. There is a psychology from the beginning to the end. And if you follow that psychology, you can guarantee the numbers all the way through. So there are two reasons why people do not show to any appointment. There's only two. And that's because of urgency. And that's also whether or not we call them out when they tell us they're not coming. And that's what we call a non-definite answer. We call out a non-definite answer. Those are the people that are telling you, yeah, I think 7 will work. Yeah, I should be there. Sure, the 11 will probably work. Those people are all telling you they're not coming. And it's up to you to call them out, to let them know that your schedule is more important. It really is that simple, okay? The fact is, when it comes to urgency, and the best way I compare it to is a doctor's office. That's the best way I compare it. A doctor's office schedule is always more important than ours. In fact, people will miss work, they'll rearrange things, they'll do all sorts of stuff to make sure they don't miss a doctor's appointment, okay? So we actually treat our prospects the same way. Our schedule is more important than theirs. No one wants to work with the schedule that's completely open. No one wants to work with an agent who's chasing them either, guys. I want you guys to be so busy with your schedules that you're not worried about chasing people. You're more worried about the people that are showing up because you're getting 50 to 60% of them every single week with every single time that you put that appointment on the board. Okay? So urgency, that's the number thing. Calling them out, that non-definite. Listen, once you get to the point that urgency matters and they tell you, well, hey, I think that'll work, that's when you need to hit them with some type of objection. And it doesn't matter what that objection is as long as you hit it. So I'll give you an example. Hey, Ryan, I can appreciate I'm sorry, let's try that again. So Ryan, you go ahead and tell me, yeah, I think the 7 will work. Yeah, no, listen, Ryan, I don't want you to misunderstand what we're doing here. I really don't have a lot of time to spend with you. I actually meet with a lot of families, and I don't mind spending that time with you as long as I know that you're going to be there. So would tomorrow at 7 p.m. be a definite time for yours and Michelle's schedule? Yes, something so simple. It's not anything big. And what it's doing though is letting them know that you recognize that that is weak language and you need something a little bit more definite, because you as an agent they're too busy to have to deal with anything less, right? And there is a difference. You can't just keep re-asking the question. Ryan, you going to be there at 7? Maybe. Ryan, you're going to be there at 7? Well, I might. Ryan, you're going to be there at 7? Yeah, no, I'll be there, right? I mean, at some point, you're strong-arming people, guys. That's not the thing. You need a specific objection that psychologically lets them know, hey, I hear what you're telling me. Let's make sure you understand that I don't have the time for this. Let's make sure to get this for you. I'm here to help your family. Okay. So 2 things when it comes to show factor. And I promise you, those things, the best thing about show factor is that is the quickest thing to fix right away. That's what's cool about it. You can literally fix your show factor the moment you make your next phone call with just those 2 things. And that's what this whole program brings. Show factor, getting those appointments on the board, reading your numbers so you know how to work those numbers in your favor. Those are the things that we want to teach because it really is building blocks to next level success. That's what I got for you, buddy.
Ooh, God, so good. All right. So now I get to jump in a little bit. All right. So here's the thing. How many of you, was that helpful? I want to see, go ahead and hit number 1 on there if you took a nugget from what you just said. I want to see, go ahead, press number 1 if you got a nugget on here. All right, here's the thing. If you can guarantee, see a lot of this thing, people are so emotional, Natasha, on the results, and they don't realize if you're gonna, as soon as you could take your emotion off the results and actually put all the emotion on the process, like exactly what you're talking about, then you're going to cut through it. It's not a question. If you do the right habits, it will equal the right results. And here's the thing, not only the in-between things, like guys, there's a lot more to marketing, right? This is just one nugget. Talking about reading numbers, what if I told you there's a difference between seeing 7 people a week and seeing 10? And what if I told you that I talked to an agent this morning, and just by going from 7 to 10, actual sits, seeing 10, that last 3 actually increase their APV or annual premium volume more than 125% because there's an X factor in volume. What if I told you that there's actually a process, Natasha, through marketing, how to actually stay on top of your week and not be behind your week? How many of you on here actually get to the end of the week and you sit there and go, man, I got 5 more appointments today, and they don't show, and all of a sudden you go, you know what, I'll just wait until next week. How many times has that happened to you? So there's actually a process that you can put in place to stay on top of your week. If this happens, then this. If I have a large no-show factor, what do I do on Wednesday? If I have I didn't reach anyone, low contact rate, what do I do? There's actually process involved in understanding that actually looking at the numbers, it creates a trend, doesn't it, Natasha? Natasha can look at, and just like any of our agents, any of us can look at these numbers every week, and it creates a trend. And by looking at that trend, without you guys changing your skill set, listen to me here, without changing anything on your skill set, she can look at your numbers, or I can look at your numbers and say, okay, if you do this, you can get 50% more. You can get 100% more. You could go from $5,000 a month to $100,000 a month. You have that possibility of doing that. But marketing, guys, without this one part, everything else is not going to matter. It doesn't matter how good you are in the house. Another tip. Some of us go, Natasha, how many times you talk to an agent that sits there and goes, and we're going to talk to Ashley on this one too. How many times you get to an agent that's like, Natasha, I don't need help in marketing. I need help in sales. And then the first question I ask is, well, how many people did you see? And you sit there and say 5. You don't have a sale problem. You don't have a marketing problem. You have a seeing people problem. So you actually need a different perspective to actually look at what you're doing and give you the actual foundation. Now, listen to me. I don't care how big of a business you want to build. I don't care if you want to build a 1-bedroom shack, or you guys want to build a mansion. You can't build it on quicksand. You got to build it on a solid foundation. And understanding the marketing process and all these tips and tricks, because part of the 6-week, not only are you breaking down every aspect of marketing, role-playing, webinars, you guys are going to get just the inside look of the glue part. Listen to me. Every single person on here, I'm sure, whether you're affiliated with another company or another upline, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. What I care about is giving you guys what worked for us, so you can take one nugget. So you could take one little thing, and that one little thing can completely change everything in your business. But that's just marketing. Now remember, she just gave you a snippet. She gave you one little tip that can increase your show factor. If everyone's show factor increased it by 20%, what would that do to your bottom line? And so, Natasha, okay, thank you, because we're going to jump right over to Ashley. So I appreciate you. Ashley Richard. All right. So you ready? All right, let me let you guys know who Ashley is. So I have so many amazing people, and I'm telling you, listen, you're talking to a guy that, yes, failed his life insurance test. I know what you're thinking. Don't prejudge. I went out and I passed again. But listen, you guys don't want perfection. It doesn't exist. The only way perfection actually lies in an imperfection. Guess what? We're all imperfect. We're all going to make mistakes. You got to realize it's not just playing in your backyard. You can't just play in the same sandbox. You got to be able to be open. Cody, that's something I learned from you. That's why we're giving back. We want to give back. Natasha, thank you so much. Ashley, Richard, can you unmute? I'm going to pull you in. All right. Now, what about sales? What's up, Ashley?
Hey, buddy.
All right. Ready? All right. So, all right, everybody out here, I can't wait to introduce you. Just another amazing individual. All right. Been in the business for over 3 years now. So Ashley, here's the thing. So Ashley Richard, so I'll give you some background. Single mom of 2 kids. Has anyone ever struggled on here, either being a single parent and going, how do you have time to actually watch kids and actually run this business? Have you guys ever had that thing pop up? Have you guys ever experienced that going, I just don't have enough time in the day? So let me tell you what kind of excuse eliminator Ashley is. Not only a single mom of 2 kids, what if I told you she actually homeschools her 2 kids? What if I told you that after her kids go to bed, she actually has a non-resident license in Arizona and she works Arizona while she's in Florida? What if I told you that this year she's written over $564,000 in premium with over a 75% issue rate? So writing business is one thing, issuing it is a completely different thing. What if I told you last year she wrote $350,000 in premium? What if I told you the first 3 months, how many of you, I want to put a 9 in the chat. How many of you would like to talk to somebody that has written $100,000 a month for 3 months in a row and over 100 applications? Press 9. Well, what if I told you that's Ashley Richard? What if I told you she's the #1 female producer out of over 900 agents in our agency? She's the #1 female producer. And she did all this by sacrificing some time, but not sacrificing. Listen, she's done more trips. She was writing business, by the way, in the first 3 months of the year. She wrote $100,000 a month, 100 applications a month, and actually taking vacations to Alaska and writing business in between mountains. Do you think you can learn something from Ashley? I think so, because I know I have. And I know that our agents get this every single week. And same thing with Natasha. We'll talk about the things that we provide our agency as well. But Ashley Richard, man, I have so much respect. I know you have an agency as well. You're actually helping people. And I think, in fact, I know I've talked to you and Natasha. We want to give it back, guys. This is not about trade secrets. This is about helping you go from where you are to where you want to go. And here's the thing. I know that there's actually a clear and defined pathway in order for you to achieve it. Ashley, how are you today? Thanks for jumping on.
I'm good, man. Thanks for letting me be here. I love you both dearly. I would not be here without the both of you. I don't know what I would do in life without both of you, actually. Not just in insurance, but literally in life. You guys are like my family. So I'm super happy to be here with you guys.
All right. And so, Ashley, God, there's so much we could talk about sales process. So here's the thing, guys. It doesn't, and I know we're going to talk about some foundational things that you guys can utilize. Doesn't matter what industry, because guess what? We all have some of the same objections. I think we do. I think there's a lot of universal things, and it's mastering the basics that give you what you guys need. This is not a hard business. It is not easy. It is simple, but you got to have a process. So Ashley, you've written so much business. You write good business. You've helped other people achieve amazing success on your team. So most importantly, you give it back, because I know who you are as an individual. I know that's so important to you. And I love the fact that you're giving back to Cody and his team and anyone that's affiliated there, because I'm so appreciative for everything Cody does, Lauren and 8% team. And we just want to give it back. So buddy, I'm going to turn this over to you and let's give him some nugget start. But keep in mind, guys, she's just going to give you a snippet of what you're going to see in 6 weeks. Go ahead. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I think is so empowering, being able to teach someone how to do this business and then just letting them kind of make it their own. That's such a cool part for me. I do want to give a little background, and I don't think you two actually know this about me, but when I was in college, so I played college soccer and softball, but I still had part-time jobs that I would do as well. I actually sold shoes at Dillard's, okay? Now it's funny because I didn't actually sell shoes. I stayed in the back and I tried on the shoes and I ended up buying the shoes because I got paid hourly. So just if there's anyone on here that has no sales experience, I want you to feel super, super happy and empowered that you don't need sales experience. In fact, I prefer someone without sales experience. It's a blank canvas. So yeah, I mean, my background is teaching. I was a high school teacher, you know, before I had kids or whatnot. So a lot of people, I feel like they come into sales and they're like, okay, I got to know about insurance. I got to know about this, the sales process. No, like the best way to learn is practicing with real people, and it's repetition, repetition, repetition. In this business and sales, like, you know, you guys will talk about, you got to actually have presentations that you're doing every single week, week in and week out. I mean, if you think about it, even if you're doing 10 presentations a week, right, just for a month, that's 40 times that you're practicing hearing the same rebuttals over and over. And so for me, when I was new, guess who I called every single time I want to think about it? I called my mentor. I called Ryan Miller. I was like, Ryan, I don't want to hear, I want to think about it ever again. How do I fix that? What do I need to do? And so, you know, it's just like these small little tweaks where you learn, or how many people, you know, you can't get bank info, you can't get a social security number, you can't get all these different things. Like you learn that by practicing. And so that's been the cool part for me, is I just had so many appointments over the last few years where I got to practice and try different things. And I found joy in becoming obsessed with like the psychology of sales. I loved, like, for me, if anyone can picture, you're doing a presentation in sales and you can picture a maze and the person that you're selling something to is on the other side of that maze. It is fascinating to me to just find my way through that maze and get there. So if you become obsessed with that and enjoy it, have fun with it, and be yourself with it, then it really, really gets fun. So I'm going to kind of just go through, again, like you said, a little snippet of some things. We'll start with a minor thing. So micro yeses. If anyone on here has ever heard of the term micro yeses, I will purposely get as many micro yeses as I can on a presentation, even if it's something ridiculous, if it's something that has no purpose or point. I just want the people to keep saying yes, 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 yes. Like, look, Roxana just said yes. I got a yes already. I like it. So even breaking apart different things that I know, I just want a yes. Hi, how are you? Like any type of question, something like that. Now, remember too, guys, I do everything on the phone. Nobody sees my face. I'm not doing Zoom. I do sales from pajamas. I got a shirt on. I haven't brushed my hair today. This is how I woke up. Like, that's how I do sales. And so it's just, I have to get people to trust me through a phone, right? So picture, if you can't see me, picture you just hear my voice and I'm trying to get every single personal bit of information from you, but I want you to know that I'm a real person, and I want you to know that I actually care about you and your family. How do I portray that over the phone? And so my best advice, like I've said all the time, is be yourself. I am monotone. I'm a homeschool mom. I have way too many animals. I am sarcastic. I love to make people laugh. My number one goal on every appointment is make someone laugh. If you make someone laugh, that just exponentially increases your chance of making a sale. And the best way to make people laugh is by being yourself. Be goofy, have fun. Don't put all this pressure on yourself of, even though there is pressure, trust me, I get pressure. I've been there. But yeah, have fun. Find common ground with people. I always say that. So certain things that you can think of, like I said, if I hear a dog barking in the background, I'm going to talk about dogs. I'm going to talk about how I have 5 Labradors. I don't know anyone that has 5 Labradors. So that's kind of attention grabbing for some people of like, why does this woman have so many dogs? And I joke and I say, look, I need a lot of emotional support. People find that funny. They actually can relate to that, right? How many people have dogs and that's their little like emotional support companion? And again, that helps them hear me as like, I'm a real person. How many people are single parents? Like everyone that I'm on an appointment with, they know I'm a single mom. They know I homeschool my kids. I say, hey, if you ever can't reach me, I am busy. I'm either on the other line or I'm teaching little people how to read and write. So people are getting like a sense of who I am as a person. Nothing is made up. This is all genuine. So yeah, that's kind of in the beginning because you want to build a rapport with people so they actually know who you are. And then again, like all throughout my presentation, I'm just adding my jokes because I want to have fun. I like to laugh. If they don't laugh at my jokes, that's okay, because then I still laugh. I still think my joke was ridiculous. So someone's laughing no matter what. The other thing that I want to kind of stress to people is posture. Posture is learned from being consistent and from practicing day in and day out. So how many people on here, if you do have 10 presentations lined up in a week where you're actually going through a complete presentation, let's say you had 10, how many people would like to close 8 to 9 of those a week? And again, the average APV is going to be $1,000 of APV. Okay, so how many people would like to make 6 figures? Me, Roxana, I like Roxana already. She gave me a yes, and she wants to make 6 figures and close everyone she talks to. So yeah, that has to do with posture. If anyone has heard me on an appointment, which last week I played a live presentation, people could hear me actually talk to people and how I go through certain things. And there's never a doubt in my mind that I'm not getting an application. There's just not. And so for someone to come in here, as myself, I'm going to speak for myself. When I came in here, I had no confidence in myself, none. Now, if people hear me do a presentation, they're like, man, how are you so confident? And I didn't think about that, but it's all through the process. Okay. So if you have a goal that you set for yourself, the goal is going to grow you as a person. It's going to grow you as a genuine, caring salesperson. You don't want to be a skeezy salesman. I don't ever say I'm an insurance agent or anything like that. I say I'm a licensed caseworker. Like, people know that I am here to treat every family as a case. I claim them as my families. I say, this is my family. These are my families. And so for me, that's important that people know. I know, that they have dogs. I know that they have kids. I care about them as people. If I was to see, a cashier, them checking out, getting groceries, I ask that person, hi, how are you? How are you doing? Like, treat people like people. That is the most important thing when you're in sales. And that's where people trust you. That's where you're able to actually cross that bridge where you're easily able to get all this personal information to protect a family because they trust you. That's the goal. They have to trust you as a person. Next thing I'm going to say, going back to posture, is just a lot of people in the psychology of sales and stuff. A lot of people pause at the wrong time. A lot of people put emphasis on the wrong words. Again, this stuff is all like very scientifically kind of proven. And that to me is like I said, very fascinating. So even if I'm going through a presentation, I can say, I'm going to look at the best carrier that would potentially be able to approve you for coverage. So see, like I put an emphasis on potentially, or I take a pause after I say something a certain way, or I ask questions after I explain something. I say, have you guys ever heard of an accelerated benefit rider? So I ask a question because, again, I want constant dialogue back and forth. And then they're going to say no, and then I'm going to explain it. And then I'm going to ask another question, where does that make sense? And so everything, if you listen to my presentation, like in its whole, you're going to see that I probably asked like 100 questions, that I never go more than 2 minutes talking without getting a dialogue back and forth. If it's a husband and a wife, if I hear that the wife is responding most of the time, I'm going to call the husband by name and call him into the conversation. Because again, picture like you're in a home with someone and picture how you would actually converse with them. Like if I'm sitting with Ryan and Natasha, right? I'm trying to sell them something. I would not sit here and talk to Natasha the whole time and act like Ryan did not exist. That doesn't make sense. Okay. So it's like you have to be very methodical with how often you're pulling people back into the conversation. So that's another one. The other thing that I think is so important too, when I was doing this and I kept getting these different objections, or I want to think about it or something like that. And again, I'm doing this on the phone and I'm like, man, I would never give someone my social security number over the phone. I would never give someone my bank and routing number. I sold it to myself first. Okay. So I put myself in the position of, If I was on the other line with this person, what would they have to say? More importantly, what would I have to feel to be comfortable enough to share my information with this person, to share why I want coverage, to share what is most important for me and my family? And so if you go through it backwards like that, and you actually are able to sell it to yourself first and find out why it's important to you, why you would go with a concept called critical period coverage versus term coverage or different things like that, that's where for me, I started to just look at it very logically. If someone asked me something this way, I would assume that they already know this information. So for example, when I'm asking for someone's social security number, again, I've already gotten like 50 micro yeses. They already picked which option they want. And now we're going through the actual application. I will skip all around on the application and I will say things that I already know. I use the information that I have because that gives them more confidence in me of, she's probably already got this anyways. So I'm just kind of confirming it. Now, a key word that I love to use is confirm. Why? Because it sounds like I already have it. So let's picture I went through an entire application, right? I already confirmed your name, the spelling, your birthday, your address, all this stuff. And then I get to the dreaded social security number. And so I say, can you confirm your social for me? That's it. I say it like I said anything else. I said it like I said their birthday. I said it like I said, like confirming the spelling of their name. Can you confirm your social for me? Okay. And guess what? Maybe 1 out of 100, literally 1 out of 100 will not give it to me. And for that person, when they actually question me back, why would I give you my social? Here's where people lose the sale. They get nervous. Their pitch in their voice rises. They start talking super fast. And then the person's like, oh, they can feel that, that the other person is uncomfortable. This is why it's so great that I'm actually naturally monotone, but you can practice being monotone off, this weekend. But if you respond in a calm way, if you respond in a way, again, where your tone is very even, very stable, the same way that you responded when you were talking about dogs and when you were talking about kids and you were talking about being a homeschool mom and all those things. Here's my response for social security number. 2 reasons. Number 1, you're already going to be assigned a 4-digit PIN number, or the carrier will ask you to put in your full social security number. So once I actually send you your e-signature, you're going to have to confirm that it's correct. So it's going to validate that it's you. Number 2, if something ever happens to you and your family can't find that paperwork, like files just get lost, you move or anything like that. If they cannot find those exact papers, then they don't get anything. There's no coverage that's paid out. You have to actually have proof that you have insurance. So the only way to see that you have coverage is by what? Your social security number. So you always want your social security number attached to your coverage, because if something happens to you, God forbid, your family can always use that to find the coverage. And then I go right back to the script. I don't pause. I don't ask another question, not the script. I go back to the application. And so I'll say, okay, where were we? Oh, that's right. We need you to confirm your social. And then I just keep going. You have to keep going. A lot of people are kind of like in shock when they get to that point in sales where like they actually went through a presentation and someone actually picked something. And then people are like, wait, so you want the coverage? And I'm like, no, write the application, write it. Let's go. Keep that train moving. So that's the other thing. Confirm, using confirm. For one of our carriers, we have like SBLI where you can actually use a credit card. So what do I like to do? I like to say a joke because it diffuses the situation. I want everyone to feel so not threatened by what I'm asking. So I like to use a joke. So one of them, you can use a credit card. I say, okay, so we can actually set this up to, via bank draft. Now, I'll be honest, I have mine set up via credit card. I'm going to confess to you guys that I get Amazon reward points and I have an Amazon problem, no judgment. So this is just for me to waste more money on Amazon. And so that's funny. How many people have an Amazon problem? All of us. I guarantee you Ryan has Amazon packages at his front door right now. Ask his wife. And so, you know what I mean? Like that just makes you seem more human. Let's see here. That's kind of like the gist of it that I wanted to go over. What else can you think of, Ryan?
Yeah, well, how about the banking information? I think people get stuck on that. So you have this confirmation. So guys, first of all, Ashley, when you went to your first home, you remember, by the way, just so everybody, hold on, you guys want to know what my mentorship was? All right, I'm gonna give you the layout. You're gonna love this. What did I tell you was the number one thing that you need to do? Because you were so worried about everything, your very first presentation.
Yeah.
What did I say to you?
So first off, I got exactly a 70 on my test. And I remember thinking like that was just a miracle. So I bought leads. I set appointments for my first batch of leads. And this was when I was driving to appointments. So I did get to experience that. And I'm on the phone with Ryan and I'm like, Ryan, this should be illegal. I don't even know what the heck insurance is. How do I have my insurance license? I don't know what the heck I'm explaining to these people. And he was like, Ashley, calm down, make a friend. Do you know how to make a friend? And I was like, yeah, you just want me to make a friend with these people. And he was like, yeah, just make a friend. The rest will happen. And sure enough, the very first appointment for my very first batch of leads, I sat there and I wrote an application on her. And guess what? Her brother happened to be in the house. And I was like, I'm going to talk to this guy and make another friend. I'm just going to make friends everywhere that I go. And so I wrote a policy on him. And that's all it takes. Something will click in your mind of, I can do this. And now, once that belief happens in yourself, then it starts to take off. If you're consistent with it, because when you're consistent and it clicks in your mind that you can do it, now you're empowered. Now you want to do it more. Now something inside you should say, how do I do that again? How do I do that more? Now you start looking at the numbers, you start talking with Natasha, you start talking with Ryan, you start talking with me, and you're like, okay, if this many appointments got me this APV, and then you're tracking everything and treating it like a business, now you can start to increase that drastically month in and month out. Because my first month out there, I didn't close 9 out of 10 appointments that I had. I maybe closed half, probably like an average agent or something. Now I know if I'm doing 10 presentations in a week, I'm closing 9 and one of them probably had to be rescheduled because something came up. I know I'm closing them. And so that's the cool part. Best advice ever, buy a mentor, make a friend.
All right. So the last thing before I jump in, banking. I think that's universal. How many of us get to the banking page and like freak out?
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about, because remember, it's not about it's what she's saying, but how she's saying it. So Ashley, let's give a nugget on that. Now, remember, this is just a piece of what you're going to see. We're obviously going to do live role playing and all that stuff with the group when we go through this mentorship track of 6 weeks. But let's go over that nugget, because I think universally, I don't care where you're at, people get to a banking information and people get skittish. Now, remember, she's done a Zoom appointment, for the record, everybody, one time. And she's like, I'm not doing Zoom. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever you want. She's like, I think I can do this phone. I'm like, all right, I like it. Let's do it. So Ashley, let's go over the banking. It's going to nugget on banking before you wrap up.
Perfect. All right. So let's say I'm talking to Natasha, right? All right, Miss Natasha. So let's say best case scenario, everything does get approved. Okay. Then what the carrier will do to make sure that your coverage is actually active and enforced is they will put in a request to draft the first month's premium. Okay. That's what actually makes your coverage active. Now, we can put a preferred draft day if you'd like. However, if something happens to you and that first premium's not drafted, nothing's paid out to your family. So most of my families have it drafted as soon as possible. I know we've got, budget and bills and everything like that. So what would be best for you? Would you like to have a preferred draft day or as soon as possible? Again, 9 out of 10 families will say, no, I want it drafted as soon as possible because of my posture and how I delivered that. And so now I got that piece right. Remember, I'm in a maze. I'm trying to get through. I don't want to get to the dead end. I'm going to keep going to the finish line. So then once she says draft it as soon as possible, then I'll say perfect. And which bank would you like to keep on file with the carrier? On file. I love that verbiage. It's so non-threatening. Nobody's threatened by keeping something on file. I'm not saying what's your bank. I'm not saying what's your routing number, what's your account number. I feel threatened even just saying that. So which bank would you like to put on file with the carrier? Chase Bank, perfect. Now, do you have a certain branch that you prefer to go to in person or pretty much all online banking at this point? Now, I asked that on purpose because how many times are people on a presentation and they get to that part, but then the person's like, I'm not giving you my bank info. I can't find my checkbook. I don't know what that number is. Well, when they tell me that they do online banking, which most people do, then I'll say, okay, perfect. So yeah, we've got online banking here. Now, can you confirm, again, I love that word confirm. Can you confirm the routing and account for me? Then I'm going to send over your e-signature and I'll walk you through how to do that part. Again, I follow up with some extra verbiage at the end because the human brain's going to remember the last thing I said, not the first thing I said. I used confirm because it sounds like I might already have it. They're not really too sure, but it sounded like I had all this other information already. And then guess what? They're going to say, I don't know where my checkbook is. That's okay. You just said you did online banking. If you log into the app, I can show you where to do that. Guess what? You can literally Google a routing number. You can Google, how do I pull up my routing and account number with Chase Bank? How do I pull up my routing and account number with whatever random credit union they have? You can Google it. There's directions on there. Take advantage of technology. Okay. And so I'll say, nope, you just sign right into your Bank of America app. And then, yeah, you see the icon at the top right. Again, I'm reading straight from Google. It explains it. And then they're like, oh, okay, here it is. Perfect. And then again, it's on file. Confirm, like you gotta get the verbiage there because again, you don't want to ask people these questions where they feel like they're being taken advantage of, they're being sold something, they're losing something. People want to feel like they're getting something. They want to feel like they have someone in their corner. They want to feel like they have someone they can trust. They want to feel like they have someone that cares about them, their home, their families. So that's how I get that.
Ooh, thank you. So, all right, man, Ashley, so good. Now listen, there's probably someone in here going, I wonder how she wraps up a sale. What is that after sale verbiage look like? Now, this is just remember, she's just giving you a snippet of things, but we go in and what we're going to be doing is again, 6 straight weeks, guys, that you're going to have access to Ashley, Natasha, myself. Now, thank you so much, Ashley. And I get to wrap up for the time that we have remaining. And here's what I want to explain to everyone. Okay. Now, first of all, if you want to know how many of us are actually a mess, I would tell you all of us. I would say that if you're in this business and you're not making a mess, remember, there's a message in every single mess. But if you want to know where your mentorship track actually starts, you know who actually determines that? Not your upline, not the company, you. When you have enough mess, everyone's going to be good at different things, guys. Some people are going to be really good at booking appointments, horrible in the house. Remember, 10% actual skill set, 90% activity. You can actually be so bad at actually issuing business, but you could still be the top producer in your entire company because you understand the numbers. Now, here's the thing. Sales is one thing, marketing is another. How are we actually bridging all this together? You want to know where I come in. Here's the thing about me. What I realized is I was bad at everything. Guys, I was bad at booking appointments. I was bad at building a business. I was bad at communicating. I was bad at following instructions. I was an entrepreneur for 19 plus years, and I did not want to work for anyone else. I went from corporate America to having problems helping a family with an $85 a month policy. You're talking to somebody in the very beginning. So what got me through? What I had to grow through it. And here's the last aspect in the part of this. The other part of this is actually on the leadership track, on everything, the psychology, on where the mindset is. And this is my guess. I don't know. There's probably not one person on here, Cody, that kind of came out when you just got bored and said, man, I want to be an insurance agent. I would guess, Cody, not one. Now, maybe there's probably one out there that you guys realize. So here's the next question. How many of you actually want to sell insurance when you're 80 or 85? Because the thing that you should be thinking about is thinking something so big that once you lead yourself, which is part of the 6 weeks, then we're going to help you actually lead others and give you the psychology, environmental breakdown. And then I'm actually going to help you lead leaders. Guys, here's the thing. If the biggest part of this entire thing is communication, Cody, if I had to ask you right now, how many times have you had a conversation, Cody, with one of your people, and you guys were literally both saying the same things, but man, it was like you guys were going opposite directions? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Okay. So how many of you sit on this call and you said, you know what, Cody? I hate my upline. It's my upline's fault. Or I hate the company I'm with. Guys, listen, Listen, you're either going to be a product of your environment or you're going to be strong enough to create your own. Here's the thing. Here's the missing piece for you guys, okay? I want everyone, if you're not reading this book, if you plan on not selling insurance, you're 80, you're sitting here and you're wondering, okay, I don't know if you can see that. It's 5 Voices by Jeremy Kupacek. It's a map how to communicate. Now, you ready? Here's what you guys need to understand. I had massive producers that work with, I have over 900 agents nationally with me. So here's what I know, Cody. Everyone is going to respond differently with me. How can I sit there? I've never wrote $100,000 in a month, but somehow I was able to communicate with Ashley to give her the basics. How would you like a map to understand, to actually communicate what actually drives Cody? What if I tell you that I have a map on exactly what he's passionate about, what Lauren is passionate about, what drives them? Some of you are driven by leaderboards. Some of you are driven by relationship. Some of you just want to know that when you're finally in the grave before you die, that you're actually leaving something in this world, that you want to know your life was actually significant in some way. That don't you want to leave something? And so here's the thing about when you're building a team. There's somebody on here that wants to build a team, Cody, that has no idea how. What if I told you that I read this book 5 times a year, and by doing that, I actually know what the other side of my voice actually sounds like? Some of you have grenades. Some of you are launching stuff at people and talking about numbers, and they could care less about numbers. They care about relationships. They care about if we're doing good in the world. That's what they care about. How would you like a map for that? People want to know why we grew from 660,000 in premium the first year to 4.2 million is because I started digging into what on the other side of my voice, what people are hearing. You guys all have the same destination, meaning you guys want to do more. But if you listen to me, this is important. You cannot get where you want to go by yourself. No one, and Cody has an entire team in his back office. Cody is surrounded by awesomeness. And that's why when you build such a campfire, it goes from campfire to bonfire. Guys, listen, if you're a damn stack of wood on here, do me a favor. Keep your damn stack of wood away from me. Because the other book I'll tell you is Learned Optimism. Okay? Learn Optimism. Martin Siegelman. If you understand, going from a realist, if a pessimist, and going to an optimist, you got to be able to program your head. What if I told you that, Cody, by understanding how to communicate with your team, you're going to go from motivation to empowerment? How many of you have actually had a conversation with one of your agents and you go, they can't move, Natasha. They're not moving. Well, listen, how would you like to be able to go, not feel like you're forcing or dragging people, that they go from running in place to act? Now, there's a difference between movement and progression. If you go from going from getting people excited, but now empowering those people, now you have actual movement. What if I told you that I actually have a process that will help you? And you know what, Cody, you're right. What if 92% of those people quit on themselves because they're 1 inch away from everything that they want? What if I told you that there's actually environmental things that you could set up with your team? What if I told you that we have process on self-development and huddles and meetings? How many of you have absolutely no idea who your leadership is on your team? How many of you would like to be around the campfire? Because when listen, this business is like a campfire for you people in snowy states. I've lived in 19 of them. I was prior military. I've lived in 19 states. I've moved around a lot. But when you're close to the campfire, when you pull away, what happens? You get cold. That there's actually a psychology on how you lead leaders, that you can actually build environmental calls in your entire team. Listen to me here, high producers, you may not need it at all. But what if I told you that Ashley, going through her struggle, people admired Cody more the fact that she was going through her struggles, not because she wrote the 100,000, but what she did and who she became along the way. What if I told you where you are does not have to determine where you're going to be? You guys determine that, guys. Change only happens when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change. That's your choice. But what you realize is that when you have a a blanket of support, when your organization is so deep with leadership and compassion and conviction, they can't stop you. They can't even contain you. What if I told you that you could actually have a process where you become so strong in the mind, everything will bounce off of you because you are bulletproof? How would you like that? Because I'm speaking conviction because I have actually seen what a policy has done for my dad when he died by accident. I remember because of this business, we were able to help my mom when she was roughing through cancer. I do not wish hospice on anyone on here. But let me ask you something. If you can attend something that you're going to become stronger when you're done, you're going to have a stronger foundation, you're going to have your feet on the ground, and you're going to run like somebody's chasing you. How would you like to be able to plug into something? And I don't care. It's not free. It's commitment. I don't want the money. It's not about that. It's about giving you guys the opportunity to get out of you what we believe lies within you, that I know Cody believes in you too. Now, Cody, I know we're 2 minutes over, buddy, and I'm trying to press the time. There's a lot we could talk about, the psychology of the marketing, the sales, the building and the leadership process. I can tell you that, guys, we have helped everyone. Here's the thing. Not Ashley, Natasha, me, I have to tell you, we've never been in insurance, but we care about people, Cody, and I know you and Lauren do too. It is the foundation of having that mutual respect where we can build something together. And it's not about what's in it for me. It's not about me. It's because I get to give it back because it was given to me. I don't get to keep it. And if you're on this call and you're so good and you're not helping somebody out, you're selfish. Because how you get to where you want to go is by helping other people achieve what they want. Cody, back over to you, pal. I mean, just for time, I cut a little bit out, but I appreciate you, brother.
Dude, absolutely phenomenal. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for joining us and sharing that. You were on fire tonight, Ryan, bro. Like I've seen you many times. You were on fire tonight, man. Like I was sitting back like, dude, soaking it up. So good. So good. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, guys. Listen, plug in. Listen, Cody, and we're just opening this up for you guys first because you guys have helped me realize when you get used to playing in your sandbox for so long, Cody, you have no idea that there's so many other cool toys and stuff like that. And you get to meet amazing associations outside of just our backyard. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I've been selfish, that it wasn't just our team. It wasn't just our company, Cody. I realized that by me not sharing with you guys, I don't want to live in a limit-like world. I want to be limitless. I want to empower people. I want to make a difference, man. So thank you so much for having us on. And Natasha, Ashley, was there anything on how somebody can register before they head out? Natasha, I know you've been plugging it in.
Yeah, guys, check that chat down there. You'll see where you can text mentor to a phone number that's on there. That way you can jump in, start getting onto it. Again, it starts January 2nd. We're starting this at the beginning of 2024, but we're going to have some cool things leading up to that to keep you guys on there. Because again, once we get started 2024, that's going to be the year for all of us. So looking forward to it.
I love it. Let's go. Thank you, Ryan Miller, Natasha Washington, and Ashley Richard. You guys are awesome. Phenomenal night. Amazing webinar. Thank you all three for being here. And thank you all for joining from around the world, wherever you're at. We appreciate your time. Hope you have an amazing week. Text Mentor to 602-560-4455 to join the amazing 6-week mentorship program that starts I think Jay, you said January 2nd, which is awesome. Okay. Finish strong. Have an amazing week. Amazing rest of November. And thank you three for joining and pouring into our audience tonight. Everybody have an awesome night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Guys.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Yeah, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.